May 2005, Manchester derby. You and Mr. Ronaldo had a little bit of an altercation. Well,
yeah, slipped a little bit, didn't I?
Yeah. You give him a bit.
Afterwards, I don't know what the mindset is. I'll tell you the build up to it. Afterwards, I was disappointed in myself. Never been sent off. I was hard. I was always hard in a tackle, sharp in a tackle. Like to give it to players, but in a fair way.
Let them know you're there.
Yeah, I let myself down on that point of view, but there was a bit of a story behind it all. It doesn't mean it's the right thing to do at all, but obviously the little wink he did to Wayne a year or so before in that summer. Like if anyone's watched the Beckham documentary, you know, Cristiano was hated for a long period of time after that. Unfortunately, the manager, Stuart Pearce, left back, psycho. Yeah, you know, and played against Ronaldo a couple of times for Rangers against them at United. Tricky, obviously knew what he was all about and knew I was going to be in the game. But it was my dad beforehand. He said, what are you going to do? I was like, what do you mean? Just what I normally do. Yeah. And I thought, why has he opened his mouth? So I had this sort of chance of thinking, well, I'll get him. I will. Like any winger, not just Cristiano. Look, you're in a game here, and 9 times out of 10, you like going the other side, and it gives me an easy chance.
Easy one,
the only person who I couldn't do that to was Ray Parlour. You know, if I kicked and elbowed Ray, he'll kick and elbow me back. And he said I wouldn't get switched the other side because I wasn't good enough. Because they had Henry or Perez, so I couldn't get rid of him. So look, you try and get one up on your opposition, and I seen sign for City, seen Wayne. The services was putting petrol in, and I just joked, said, I'll get him for you as a joke. But I couldn't play the first game. I wasn't the first time. Ronaldo after that season, I didn't play in a derby for one reason. I don't know if it was the new player came in or I was injured. I'm not too sure what it was. So I had to wait for me time. Which I never really thought about it, to be honest. But then when it come round, I'm like, oh, I've promised Wayne, and I just. But what Ronaldo's done, he did what David Beckham did. He turned the whole country right round again, full circle from disappointment in him and the chance and the booing he was got. He turned into a superstar, and everyone was clapping him off the pitch. You know, opposition. And their own team, but it was still in there with me. And till this day, I do not know why I did it. You know, I've seen an opportunity to probably leave a little bit on him, but when I look back, I go, "Well, what have I done that for?" You know, I got away with it.
You didn't get.
I got away with it. There was no VAR.
No.
But I felt, and then Wes, a good mate of mine, brought me down later on in that game, and we missed a penalty. You know, so it ended up being that. It just even worse that what I did and didn't even win or didn't get a point out of it. It looks really bad, and I had to write a letter. Rio Ferdinand went off his head, but I get it. I would, you know, and I just had to suck it up and apologise. And look, it's out of my character. You know, it's not me. It's not sorry, you don't do that to any professional footballer. And I just don't know what come over to me. I don't know. Probably just knew he was going to rip me. I probably just knew he was going to get the better of me, you know, and I've got no explanation for why I did it, you know, because normally I as I said, like a fair hard time. That's not fair. That's sort of being a coward.
What did you do? For anyone who hasn't seen it, you've left.
I've gone tight on him. Went tight on early doors, and I played against him before that. I knew that if I keep on pestering him, he'll disappear the other side of the pitch, and that's what my idea was. In that moment, he slipped. And he's on the floor, and while he's on the floor, I had to turn around and get back into my position. So my left foot, instead of touching the grass, touched him. But when you look at it, it's touched him on purpose to leave one on the ground. And I probably knew I was going to get away with it because the game went behind us. The referee's eyes were all further up the pitch, and I probably knew I was going to get away with it. I'm just second guessing why I did it.
Emotion, intensity,
it's everything.
That.
Derby, it's the full hit emotion again. Got like it did Celtic Rangers, got the better of me. It's just I probably didn't want him to make a fool of me.
You're not the first,
you know,
and you're not going to doubt you'll be the last.
It was just disappointing afterwards because it's sort of like you're thinking your kids are going to see that, you know, you see the bigger picture of it, which you don't think of at the time, which is total wrong of me.
You obviously got an injury again, and that was it, a knee injury again. You had to have an operation.
It was the same situation. It was just, again, spoke to the surgeon. Unfortunately, he'd done his collarbone and he couldn't do it at the time. But again, at Man City, it was prevention. They knew the issue. Playing well, getting player of the month, getting man of the matches. So I'm thinking it's not that bad. Hindsight, looking at the rehab wasn't as good in between matches. You know, I think it was just the wear and tear of the games were physically demanding that while I can play 90 minutes and do well, it was waking up, coming down the stairs on your backside, can't travel into Manchester, couldn't really train, I couldn't lift my leg up on the physio table to get looked at. And again, the pressure City were under right at the time. My personal situation was different because looking back at my career, I've had three managers, 3 different owners. It was all
takeover stuff.
You had to impress to be a part of it all. They couldn't offer long-term deals because they didn't know where they were financially. So it was all of let's see how you get on. And Sven was brilliant. We done yoga. Trained every day under Sven. We done really well. Brought in some top players. Really enjoyed it. Felt a key player.Playing football, you're not telling anyone you saw. You know, you're getting on with it.
Get on with it.
But it was managed well. I was having my days off when needed, and the physios were on top of it. Mark Hughes came to the football club. Intensity in training was total opposite of Sven. It was a lot physical, good. It was enjoyable, but demanding for my knee. Had to sort of wait for me time as well because he brought players in, overthrown that again and got me opportunities to run a game. So you're not saying anything. If you're playing football back to back, you're playing. And if I play Saturday, I wouldn't train Monday.
Right.
But then over the Christmas period at Manchester City was, you know, back to back games, Christmas, and that was just a downfall of playing 3-4 games in 10 days. I've never done that in my career, so my knee wouldn't stand that.
So what's the rest of this Inside the Game podcast? Head over to the More Than the Game channel or click the video that's on screen now.